Okay, this is a quick little review on factoring. Probably one of the most important things you always need to look for first is your GCF, your greatest common factor. That's your first rule of factoring is to factor out the GCF. All right, for example, if you look at each factor, what do they both have in common? They each have an x. So we're going to factor the x out front, and in parentheses, what we're going to do is what happens if we divide each of these by x? X squared divided by x is x. 2x divided by x, the x's cancel. We're left with 2. That's the factored form when there's a GCF. You put the GCF out front and put what's left over in the parentheses. Where letter A had a variable GCF, only one of them has an X here, but there is a number that goes into both 3 and 6. Remember, we're dividing everything by that number. This GCF is 3. So if I divide everything by 3, I get X plus 2. I'm using my cursor, so it looks really horrible. All right, so in this one, they have both a numerical and variable GCF. First of all, what number goes into both 4 and 8 is 4, and they both have an x in common. So we're going to divide each piece by 4x. And if I divide 8 by 4, I get 2, and I have 1x left over with the first term, minus 4x divided by itself. Well, anything divided by itself is always 1. So this is an example of just the GCF. If there's no GCF, then you move into double parenthesis factoring. Okay, so if the leading coefficient is 1, it makes it really easy. Much easier than normal. We want to create 2 parentheses. In order to get x squared, I need to take x times x. So the first 2 factors you use have to make the first term. Now, this I always say think backwards. We need factors of 8 that add to get 6. So if we list the factors of 8, that's going to be 1 and 8 or 2 and 4. Between 1 and 8, 2 and 4, there's only one set that adds to get 6. If you always list the factors of the constant, you're always going to find the right situation. And to get positive 6, I need plus 2 plus 4. They multiply to get 8, and then 2x and 4x, the middles combine to get the middle. Now notice in letter B, there's not a leading coefficient, but guess what? There's a GCF. All right, so I'm going to factor out 3 out of every single factor, and I get x squared minus 7x plus 12. Once you factor out the GCF, think backwards. Factors of 12 that add to get 7. Now, what's really important is to bring the 3 down. You have to keep the GCF on the outside. Then we go to 2 parentheses. What makes x squared? Split it apart. Give each parenthesis its own x. Factors of 12 that add to get 7. There's only one set, 3 and 4. Now, to get a negative 7, I need negative 3, negative 4. And last but not least, First thing you look for, is there a GCF? No. So 2 parentheses. No GCF, so x and x is my first term in each one. Factors of 24. 1, 24. 2, 12. 3, 8, 4, 6. There's only one that adds to get 10. 4 and 6. That's why if you always list the factors out, your answer's there somewhere. So 4 and 6. When I multiply, I get a positive 24. But when I add, it's a negative 10. So -4, -6. Okay. Oops. Still moving on. No GCF. So 2 parentheses. X squared breaks into x and x. Factors of 35. This time we're going to subtract to get 2, technically a -2. And this minus 35 tells me my factors are going to be at the opposite. That's why it's a negative, and that numbers need to subtract. These need to subtract to get 2. So that's going to be 7 and 5. Anytime the signs are different, the biggest number is going to match the sign of the original problem. So the 7 is negative, 5 is positive. All right, no GCF, 2 parentheses. X squared breaks into x and x at the beginning of each parenthesis. Factors of 18 that subtract to get 3. So we've got 1, 18, 2, and 9, 6 and 3. Notice 6 and 3 are the factors I need. Since it's a -18, the signs are opposite, so the biggest number needs to match the middle, which is plus. So the 6 gets the plus, the 3 gets the minus. All right, letter C, we need factors of 20 that subtract to get 1. Even though there's not a number in front of x, I know that it's a 1. No GCF, so I can go right to 2 parentheses, x and x. And which ones subtract to get 1? 4 and 5. Since the 20 is negative, my 4 and 5 are opposite signs. Because the middle is positive, my big number is positive, and my 4 is negative. All right, last but not least, I notice there's a 2 that can go into all. That's your GCF. So first I'm going to divide everything by 2, put the 2 on the outside. That's a 6. Then I'm going to bring down my 2, and then 2 parentheses, break apart x squared, x times x. Factors of 6 that subtract to get 1, 3 and 2. Where the 1 is positive, that means the 3 is positive and the 2 is negative. This last one is what we've been doing, your zero product property. If the whole thing equals 0, that means split it apart. Either x minus 2 equals 0, or x minus 3 equals 0, and then solve each equation. So if I add 2, that means this solution is x equals 2. And if I add 3 on this side, I get x equals 3. Each parenthesis is going to give you an answer. All right, so this one, split it apart. X plus 1 equals 0. So x equals -1 when I subtract 1 from both sides. what makes x minus 4 equals 0 when x equals positive 4. All right, I think you have the hang of this. The big thing, oh, and this is what I was saying earlier. Why does each of them have 2 answers? The degree is 2, and so that tells me I should have 2 answers. Sometimes they're the same answer, but that's okay.